The clubs and the associations that white women develop in the 1870s, 80s, and 90s, as we know, are segregated. And while they go a long way towards getting women involved in the polity and making their political voices felt, what about black women in this period? How do they make their voices felt?
We're talking about a period, say, from 1880 to 1920,
Yes.
or 1930. African American women come out of slavery really prepared to accept the role of an American citizen. They are not only ready and willing and able to carry the responsibilities of citizenship, but the demands of being a black citizen. So during this period, remember, there are no welfare agencies. The welfare state is yet to be set up. So it's African American women's clubs, first on that are established on the local level, and then established on the state level, and then finally in 1896 they come together as the National Association of Colored Women. And I like to remind people that in 1896 the NAACP, the civil rights organization that is founded at the turn of the century, and I believe it's like 1907 and then 1909, the National Association of Colored Women is formed before the NAACP, and it extends over a much wider geographic area. So what had happened was that clubs formed on the local level and then on the state level. So you had a Georgia Federation of Colored Women's Clubs. You had a Washington, D.C. Federation of Women's Clubs. You had New York clubs, etc. And in 1896, they come together. And basically what these clubs are doing, some of them are library clubs, so that they establish libraries for black communities. Some of them are kindergartens, so that they, particularly given the fact that African American women must work, will always work, and by this time it has been established that that's basically going to be the case, because black men can't find steady employment because it's such widespread discrimination against them, whereas women can find work as domestic workers, as laundry workers. They can find some kind of service work that they generally do. Black women establish reformatories, and basically we're not talking about for bad children, but we're talking about, for example, when young children or women migrate from the south to the north, or from a rural area to an urban area, they set up homes so that when they come to a city, they will find a welcoming place for them. Black women establish hospitals. All manner of social services are established through these networks of women's clubs.
That's fascinating. And so they are basically responsible for the social well-being of African American women who are, in many cases, out in the labor force working. So they provide childcare or daycare for children, and they educate those children in kindergartens and yes, so on. Absolutely. How widespread are these women's clubs?
These women's clubs exist in just about every single northern city as well as southern city. They are basically urban, just because it's of the difficulty of establishing a club in rural areas. But we have clubs as far west as California and Washington State, for the very few, Kansas. A very large network of clubs in Kansas.
So are you saying that the white women's services For example, the YWCA, the Young Women's Christian Association, actually wouldn't serve black children or black women, or simply that the two systems operated in parallel?
Well, originally, the YWCA does not serve black women or black children. But what they will do is allow black women to set up a separate YWCA. And this is generally what happens. So you have parallel organizations. One of our eminent black women historians, Darlene Clark Kine, would call this parallelism. So where you have a white Y, you will also have a black Y. And it is generally, black women went to white women, tried to establish a YWCA, and were rebuffed in some shape, form, or fashion, and wound up establishing their own Y, and then maybe or maybe not affiliating with the white Y in that particular area.